Thanks everyone for coming today. I hope everyone was able to spend at least some time with their families over the past Family Day weekend. Today is a very good day for Amazon workers. I know our members at Amazon have had some good news this Family Day weekend from their union. And we're here today to talk about a $1 million plus win for Amazon workers. We're here to outline the process that we believe will lead to a first collective agreement here in British Columbia soon for Amazon workers. BC Amazon workers have continually stood up to this billion-dollar company and insisted on their right to organize within the law and without interference. The law as it exists in BC, in Canada, not the law how Amazon wishes it to be or whatever doublespeak they use to explain their poor behavior. But there's only one word for Amazon's behavior toward these workers: illegal. Not once, but twice, with more charges still pending hearing. Once again, Amazon has broken BC labor law, and this time it's going to cost them more than $1 million in back pay and mandatory raises for workers. Once again, Amazon is now trying to rewrite reality to explain away its outrageous anti-union behavior. But British Columbia law respects workers and their right to join a union. The message from these rulings is clear. Amazon, this is Canada, and workers have rights in Canada. And while we always seek improvements to these laws, in this case, so far, the system is acting as it should. These strong Amazon workers behind me have done everything right. In the face of Amazon threats and intimidation, Amazon workers continue to sign union cards choosing Unifor as their union. Amazon workers have had to deal with a barrage of ongoing anti-union messages and other illegal behavior as they were trying to organize. We filed unfair labor practice complaints to protect their rights. The BC Labour Relations Board held 18 days of hearings in early 2025, and it found Amazon's behavior broke the law in several different ways. Amazon's behavior was so bad that the BC Labour Board ordered a remedial certification at YVR2 to allow these workers to finally enter collective bargaining. Unifor Local 114 was certified to represent a bargaining unit of around 800 workers at Amazon's YVR2 facility in July 2025. But the BC Labour Board went further to protect workers. It ordered that the union would be allowed access to YVR2 lunchrooms to hold a series of meetings last September, and it ordered that any workers who attended those meetings would have to be paid by Amazon. I was there with our Unifor team at those meetings last September. We met directly with hundreds of Amazon workers on each shift over a week of meetings. Amazon wasn't done breaking the law, though. Even though Amazon workers had to walk through managers waiting outside, they still poured into every single one of those meetings in that lunchroom. As Amazon workers started to learn more about the process of collective bargaining, we heard about the strange news starting to circulate at the exact same time. I remember answering questions at those meetings from the workers about safety, about speed up, about the bargaining process, and about their hopes and dreams for better working conditions and a better life. But as they came into those meetings, workers were also learning that Amazon was giving significant wage increases to workers at its many warehouses across the Lower Mainland. These raises would be bigger than usual and would also this time be accompanied by free Amazon Prime membership for workers. The workers were learning that almost everyone working at Amazon in the Lower Mainland would get these raises and perks, except for our newly certified members at YVR2. Disgusting behavior. And as this ruling shows, illegal behavior. The decision by Amazon to freeze wages at YVR2 was communicated around the exact same week that we were holding Labour Board ordered meetings inside YVR2 for the first time. Coincidence? We think not. The 2025 raises that Amazon implemented in BC were up to $2.05 an hour for the vast bulk of the workers and up to $2.85 an hour for higher paid employees. Amazon tried to tell workers that BC labor law prevented them from giving these wage increases and perks to workers at YVR2 and that everything had to be negotiated. Amazon tried to argue that its hands were tied and that it must freeze wages instead of protecting workers. What a load of baloney. We told the workers in those meetings that their union would not let them down. We told the workers in the lunchroom in those meetings that Unifor stood with them. We would fight for every penny owed, and we would prove that their power as organized workers was real. And today we can announce what we told the Amazon workers on the weekend. You won. Late last week, the BC Labour Relations Board issued its bottom line decision into the unfair labour practice complaint filed by Unifor last year over this refusal to provide the wage increase to employees at YVR2. We argued that BC labour law was clear. Employees cannot be punished for joining a union. The law is designed to protect, not punish workers, and wages and perks should be granted as normal while negotiations continued. We also alleged that their behaviour confirmed further violations of the Labour Code, and were seeking damages for the union and the members and further remedial orders. Amazon refused and fought the union every step of the way, with multiple submissions trying to block the workers' complaints about the wage freeze. Amazon had every right to propose to the union or apply to the Labour Board under Section 45, subsection 3 of the Code to implement wage and perk increases if it was somehow unclear. Amazon never asked the union, and it never applied to the Labour Board, and now it has been found in violation of the law once again. Amazon chose to try to punish its workers at YVR2. It got caught red-handed, and now it's trying to explain it away in doublespeak. If Amazon wanted to make a change during a freeze period and were unsure how to do it, the law permits them to ask the board to allow it. Amazon wants us and the workers to believe that somehow their high-priced lures can't see the plain language in the labour law and can't figure out how to ask permission to give its own workers a raise, the same raise it gave everyone else. They want workers to believe that even though the Labour Code provided this express way to ask them to improve wages, that they were somehow confused and that they held back over $1 million in wages as a result. Well, we have news for Amazon. Workers and the BC Labour Board aren't fooled so easily. The Labour Board ruled that Amazon violated Section 45(1)(b) of the BC Labour Relations Code by unlawfully imposing a wage freeze on unionized workers, upholding the first part of our complaint. This decision confirms what Amazon workers have been saying all along. The company broke the law by singling out unionized workers for unfair treatment. No worker should be punished for exercising their legal right to join a union, and today's ruling sends a clear message that Amazon is not above the law. Amazon has now been ordered by the Labour Board to implement the same pay increases it held back at YVR2 and to retroactively adjust the wages of all of those members to the new higher wage rates going forward. After calculating some of the hours worked, the scope of the ruling, and the almost 6 months' worth of back pay these workers are owed, we believe the money that will be paid out to Amazon workers at YVR2 will exceed $1 million, and this is the highest single judgment on wages against Amazon in Canada. This ruling underscores that even the biggest corporations face real financial consequences when engaged in unlawful anti-worker conduct. Every single penny is deserved by these workers, and we're not done fighting for justice yet. Hearings into the full unfair labour practice complaint will continue in early March 2026, and we are seeking further unions, further orders, and additional damages. We've established an important precedent with this ruling, that the employer cannot blame the Labour Code for mistreating employees, that Amazon workers at YVR2 have the protection of a union, and this order means they will now get back every penny that they are owed. This ruling also means that their wages, their ongoing wages, will be increased by several dollars an hour. And this ruling means that workers in BC can truly join a union, and Amazon workers are leading the way. Unifor has ongoing campaigns at several Lower Mainland Amazon warehouses, and we're continuing to reach out about signing a card so that they can get to the bargaining table too while protecting their wages and rights. It's been truly incredible for the union table to advise the workers last weekend, Family Day weekend, that their voices meant something and that they would see back pay and ongoing raises. We believe this ruling demonstrates why a collective agreement is so badly needed for these workers and all Amazon workers. But today is also about the path toward that first contract. Because you see, while this was going on, the Amazon YVR2 workers elected their bargaining committee. They surveyed the workers. They drafted contract proposals. And we've been pushing hard at the bargaining table for a first contract with Amazon for months. We've been trying to get an agreement over, but Amazon won't even discuss monetary proposals with us so far. We believe they're deliberately trying to avoid concluding a collective agreement in a reasonable time frame, and we're simply not putting up with it. Today we've applied for mediation at the Labour Relations Board under Section 55. Section 55 is known as first contract mediation, and it has specific timeframes for the parties to try to mediate a new agreement. If mediation is unsuccessful, the mediator can also recommend terms for acceptance by both parties. And if that doesn't result in a first contract, the mediator can also recommend a process for concluding that first agreement, including further mediation by someone empowered to arbitrate unresolved issues and conclude that in an agreement, mediation arbitration style, or arbitration by a single arbitrator or by the board to conclude the first collective agreement. And so either way, today starts that path that we believe will lead to a first collective agreement, either by mediation or first contract arbitration. Therefore, one way or another, we've started to pass the point where we will see that first collective agreement. Now, in the past few days, Amazon is still trying to mislead workers and blame the Labour Board for its alleged confusion over holding back more than $1 million in pay. It actually claims it is now glad to have this ruling, the very ruling that it fought for months. We have a message for Amazon. Enough of the games. Settle this collective agreement in mediation as soon as possible. These workers deserve fairness and a first collective agreement without further delay. We also have a message to all the other Amazon workers out there. Don't be afraid. You have a right to join a union and protection under Canadian law. If you want to work together on improving your working life, contact us to find out how you can join Unifor. We deal with the biggest corporations on the planet every single day, and we bargain successful agreements and good outcomes for workers no matter what they throw at us, and this just demonstrates that. With Amazon and BC, the supposed biggest of them all, we're in collective bargaining, pursuing a first contract. We're holding this billion-dollar company accountable with million-dollar judgments, and wages are going back into workers' pockets where they belong. And our message to all Amazon workers is, stand with us and let's make Amazon a better place to work for everyone.